Good morning, everybody. Thank you for making it here. Many sessions like this, you thank people for having braved the traffic and the weather conditions. I'm going to do no such thing today because what Vasu has done will put weather and all these things to shame. So, but thank you all for coming, and thank you, Vasu, for being with us to share this incredible experience. That's all I'm going to say. But we're going to talk for about 40 or 45 minutes and then throw it open for questions. What you'll have to do for questions is, because this is being recorded, you need to come to the mic out there. That's far end of the stage, and identify yourself, and then you can ask your questions. But so, going to get straight into it and ask you, Vasu, to tell me, how did you get into mountaineering? I mean, you were in Bangalore, 3,000 feet, nowhere near mountains. So how did you get into mountaineering?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. Sunil, yes, I'll answer your question. I come from a large family, and every summer holiday or winter holiday that we got, my mother, we lost our father early. So our mother used to take us out picnics either to Haugenkal Falls or to Nandi Hills or some mountain or the other. So I guess I got inspired into, taking on to adventure. Then when I was studying in Mount Carmel College, I was in NCC. That time they had the first South Indian rock climbing camp, and the instructors from Uttarkashi Nehru Institute of Mountaineering came down, and we did a 10-day rock climbing course. I was with the Karnataka Mountaineering Association since for last 52 years. That's when I joined Karnataka Mountaineering Association. And so ever since that time, I've been bitten by the bug. I didn't get selected for the basic mountaineering course from NCC. Later, I earned my own money. 400 rupees was a basic mountaineering course at Darjeeling. I had the honor of doing the basic mountaineering course under Sri late Tenzing Norgay. And thank you. Yeah. He was a...
Lucky him.
Yes. Oh. Thank you. We also had Sri Navangombu as a field director, who is the first Indian man to have climbed Everest twice. So after that, I got an A grade. Then next year, I went for the 1977, I went for the advanced mountaineering course. When I went the second time, my mother was really furious. And she said, okay, enough is enough. Now you're going to get married. So 2 months later, I got married to Govind Srinivasan. But my mother thought I'll give up mountaineering because I wanted to have kids and everything. But little did she know about my ambition. So there was an Everest women's Indian first team that was going to come up in 1984, which I knew about. And my instructors had told me that you have to train for that. So I had my kids in quick succession. And then I started training. Oh my God, I remember we were posted in OTA at that time. Sorry? Yeah. So we were posted in Chennai, OTA, he was an instructor there. St. Thomas Mount was just close by. I remember Govind made, this is not the way to climb Everest. You have to put on a backpack and then run up the mountain. So he made a backpack of 25 kilos, which was just nothing for me at that age. And I would run up the mountain every day, up and down, up and down. And that's how I started training. But eventually I got dropped out for the final selection. That's okay, because I did all the other things.
Well, in Chennai, weather to be going up and down, the 25 kilo backpack, quite amazing. And that just shows that, you can't make an excuse. We all are lazy, we make excuses. This is an example. Think of what could, but tell me about this expedition. How did you get selected for this? Because this was an expedition led by Chandri Pal, who some of you would know is a legend in mountaineering in India. So how did you get to be part of this expedition?
I got selected for the pre-Everest to Gangotri expedition in 1982. That's when I met Chandri Pal, and she's an amazing person herself. Subsequently, in 1983, I did another expedition, pre-Everest expedition. My other friend, Wing Commander Sridhar, is also here. We were all on the same expedition. That was to Mana. And the final expedition to Everest was in 1984. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. Well, Sridhar made it. He went on the Everest expedition. And that's how I met Bachchandri Pal. And now, in 1997, she had the first Trans-Himalayan Expedition. My kids were very small at that time, so I couldn't join them. I was holidaying in Leh at that time. Bachchandri Pal's expedition landed in Leh in the month of August. And she said, "Abhi to tu excuse nahi degi, tu aana hi padega mere sath." So she just pulled me and went. I called up my mother and told her, "Amma, I'm going on this expedition. Please look after the kids." She said, "Oh my God." And I disconnected the phone after that. She couldn't get back to me. And then we were the first women to set foot in Siachen in 1997. We went up to Camp 4 and hoisted the India's flag for the India's Golden Jubilee. And subsequently, all the other girls climbed Indrakol. In Camp 5, there was a huge avalanche that came, so I couldn't stay for that many days, so I returned. And then, so since I couldn't join the whole thing, it was always at the back of my mind to do this. Now I covered 2 borders of India. One was in 2011. We did a cycle expedition from Calcutta to Kanyakumari. And that was 3,000 kilometers. My husband and my daughter, they designed the whole thing. This was through Vani. Vani is a association which started by Bachchandri Pal. It's called Women Adventure Network of India. We have a head office in Nagpur. So through that, I could lead the first cycle expedition. So we did that with 15 women. And subsequently in 2014, we did the from Kutch to Kerala. And then Bachchandri took us in 2007 on another camel safari expedition. That's from Vigakot to, which is this, Amritsar, Wagah border. And so these borders I had covered. I always wanted to do this at the back of my mind. I had not told anyone. I knew I myself will not be able to do it at all. But 2 years ago, Bachchandri announced that we're going to do a Trans-Himalayan expedition to commemorate our 25th anniversary. And now we all are over 50, and we want to show the people in India, especially women in India, that we are still fit and we can do something. We are ordinary women, but we can do something extraordinary. That's what she said.
Ordinary women, yes, we believe that, right? Right. This ordinary woman was told by some doctor, 12 years ago?
Yes,
12 years ago that you need to get a knee replacement. Have you met that doctor after that?
Yes, I meet him every year, and then he said, "Vasumathi, I give up my hands. I'm not going to tell about you to anyone."
I think that's a separate story altogether. So there's a lot to share. So I think we're going to get into seeing some slides about this magical journey. So tell us about the planning.
Yeah, planning. The route planning was done by Bachchandri Pal and Chaitanya Sahu, who's the deputy leader. Since they had already done it in 1997, it was much easier for them. But now a lot of roads have come up in very many places. So we had to really plan. And because the borders are there, army, we had to get permission from the army, and we had to get their support. Nobody other than Bachchandri Pal, I will say, that could get permission from the army like that. So the magic word is Bachchandri Pal. So she wrote a letter to them, and they said, "Yes, we will give you the permission, but only on certain conditions." So those conditions came after we reached Arunachal Pradesh. And we had to get permission from the local authorities also. So there was a back office from the Tata Steel Adventure Foundation, which was doing massive work for us. Because if not for all the correspondence, we wouldn't have been anywhere. The correspondence took about a year or more to write to all the people, Army Adventure Cell, Army Headquarters, and of course route planning, getting permissions from all the district magistrates from all the different places. That took hell of a long time. So actually, since COVID started also, it got postponed by 2 years. So I will say it took about 2 years of planning for us. And then, yes, we got permission from the Army Adventure Cell. I had to fly to Delhi, Army twice actually. Army Adventure Cell, SSB, Sahastra Seema Bal, that is BSF, ITBP, and Nepal Embassy also, because we were walking for 2 months in Nepal. So we got permissions from everywhere and we started our journey. We were flagged off on March 8th. And we had a lot of logistic planning, which we had to do because we can't get porters everywhere. We had to depend on porters and guides for every week or 10 days because their jurisdiction is only that much. They will not come for beyond that. Porters, ponies, and mules also. So that was a massive planning that went on. We could not do sitting in Delhi or in our places. We had to go on ground and get the porters. So that was a big challenge for us, which we faced. And it came easy, quite easily, because porters are just waiting to get jobs everywhere. So that was okay for us. And then, budget. Budget was another big issue, but fortunately Tata's funded us and we had a lot of local sponsors also. And I have such good friends, thanks to all of them. I just made a call and they said, especially like Adukale and Adventure Works, people like that. Adventure Works gave us all the rucksacks, sleeping bag, one of the best, I would say.
It's great for them, that they're part of this expedition. And then tell us about, the team selection. But was it Bachendri who picked the team?
That's right. Bachendri handpicked the team. She knows each and every member for last 30 years. She's friends with me for last 40 years, since 1982. If you don't know the person inside out on a long journey like this, it becomes really difficult. Because as you would know, like I will say in a house, like if you put 10 women there, if they can last for 1 full month without fighting. That is a big challenge. So Bachendri knew us all inside out. So that's how she chose the team.
If I'd said that, I would have been accused of various things. So I'm glad I didn't say that. And of course, linked to that, you had to plan all your food and rations.
Yes.
And,
all our food and ration.
And we'll come to that a little bit later on, your typical day. So we're just going. This is the team, your 12.
Yeah, the 12 women.
The 12 stars. And if you go to the, some of the websites, you can find out about each of them. Each of them is a highly accomplished mountaineer.
Thank you. Yeah, we were flagged off from Delhi on the International Women's Day on March 8th. Vistara sponsored our tickets to Dibrugarh, Delhi to Dibrugarh. From there, we went by road to Arunachal Pradesh. We went to a place called Jairampur. Jairampur is very close to Pongsau Pass. So that's how we started from Pongsau Pass. We couldn't get permission to go into Bhutan this time. Earlier they had gone into Bhutan also. But this time due to COVID, we couldn't get permission to go into Bhutan. So we started from Pongsau Pass and came down from there. Army was there. And once we went there, we got a shock of our life. The planning that we had done, Army had completely changed it. Because of the CI ops area, counter-insurgency area, all the terrorism in that area and all the wild animals. We were walking through the jungles of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. And when we went there, they had a meeting with us and they had made a beautiful map and they said, ma'am, you people are walking on the road. We said, oh my God, we don't want to walk on the road. We want to walk through the jungles. They said, no, not in Arunachal and Assam because of security reasons. So there were always 2 people walking with the loaded guns along with us. That's how the army took care of us. And we had a nursing assistant and one ambulance also because they took complete charge of us and we started walking. So that's from Pongsau Pass, yes.
So this is the first part of your journey from Arunachal through Assam.
Yes.
And back into Arunachal.
And, yes.
And I think if anybody's traveled there, you know that what Vasu just said about the security there, you need inner line permits, lots of permissions. So,
yes.
So you had 2 escorts from the army right through.
Not 2. We had a battery of people coming along with us.
Right.
So we had 2 guys loaded with the loaded guns. And the rest of them were just walking with us. They said, we've never walked on this route. We too would like to walk. So many of them walked. Some of the ladies joined us. Some of the kids who were there, they joined us too. Some of the locals also joined. The funny part was the buses that were going there, they would stop and say, please get into the bus. We want to give you a lift. So...
Yeah, and most of this was on the road in this
yes.
sect. So you
Arunachal and Assam.
Assam was mainly on the road.
That's right, yes. But we thought it'll be very easy to walk on the road. No, not at all. You are using the same muscles all the time. Your shin bone pains like anything. The blisters that we got, oh my God, I just cannot tell you the blisters that we got. In fact, 2 girls, from underneath the soles, the skin just came out like that. Oh my God, that was gruesome to see that. We've taken photographs and all that. Of course, we couldn't put it on the... Sunil cut it. He is a bad one. He cut all my photographs.
Well, it's a bit too gruesome to show.
Well, I will say he's an angel, actually.
But,
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry.
all these kilometers on the road, and they didn't charge you road tax?
And thank God for that. This was the tax that we paid.
Right.
Blisters.
So, but what is sort of distance you were covering every day in this sector, which was on the road?
Yeah, in this sector, we walked only 20 to 25 kilometers every day.
Only?
Yeah. And it was so hot, I cannot tell you. Being the east, the sun rises at 5:30, 5:15. So by the time it's 8 o'clock, it's scorching heat. And then we were getting burnt. And then, so that's how we started at 4 in the morning. In one place, we started at 3:30 also. And by about 12, 1 o'clock, we'd, hang our boots up. But then we couldn't camp anywhere in this area, in our own tents, because of the CI ops area and the wild animals again. So army wouldn't let us camp on the road. So we had to stay in the army establishments per se.
So that's why you did, of this 4,800 kilometers, part of it was by road to get to those.
That's right.
Yeah, so in 4,800 kilometers, how much did you actually trek approximately?
Approximately 3,000 and odd we trekked.
So that's, we're talking of, for in 140 days, doing more than 20 kilometers every single day. So I don't think most of us drive that much.
This is all walking on the road in Arunachal and the tea gardens. That's Bachindri right in the middle. It's one of the army establishments. So everywhere we had to give talks, everywhere we had to address school children, college children, NCC cadets.
And then you had to give talks everywhere. And then when I asked you, I had to persuade you. After giving so many talks, why did you why so difficult?
Anyway, so this was a bridge we had to cross. It's about 9.15 kilometers. So it connects Assam to, Arunachal to Assam, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This was recently, I think 2-3 years ago.
We crossed this bridge also.
So did you scare the tigers?
In fact, what happened when we were walking from Benigri to Digboy? Digboy is Indian Oil, big oil wells are there. So when we were walking there, we suddenly heard the langurs squeaking like anything, chattering. Army guys suddenly stopped and they said, they took out the guns and they said, oh my God, we've never heard this before. And then after some time from right to it left, it shifted. And then again more chattering. And then immediately we heard the elephants trumpeting. Whole lot of a family of elephants trumpeting. These guys made us all lie on the road and they took out their guns and they were ready. But luckily they didn't come anywhere near the road. They went off into the jungles.
I think the elephants would have been scared of you all.
Yeah.
You all are too tough for them.
This was our first rest day after 14 days in Tanga Valley. I'm sure any army people are there, they would have heard of Tanga Valley. It's a huge establishment there. It's a transit camp. So one day we danced and we sang songs and all. So this was another route that the army had made for us, changed the route for us.
There's the elephants who you scared away.
Jalpadara.
So now this is, I think, the part you get into Sikkim, if I'm wrong.
Yes. So we walk from Arunachal, enter Assam, we go into Arunachal again, enter Assam and come out to West Bengal. That's how the route goes.
Amongst other things, a geography lesson for people who have not traveled in that region. Tell me, how was it different when you got from one state to another? So like when you entered Sikkim, how was it different from the previous part of the journey?
Actually, in Arunachal and Assam, there's a lot of greenery. Sikkim also, it's so much greenery, but Sikkim is so much higher in altitude. If you see Nathula Pass, that's at about 14,600 feet. We walked up to Nathula. And so that's how the body is acclimatized to for us.
So so the real climb, I mean, you started at what, about 3,000 feet?
3,000, yes.
And then gradually climbed to, till you got to Nathula at 14,600.
Yes.
So, and Nathula is what must be about a good 30, 40 days into the journey?
Yes. About a month into the journey.
There we are,
We
25.
go to another place called Zuluk.
Yes.
There, the army is there permanently, of course, as everybody would know. They have rainfall for almost 12 months in a year. And we were surprised to see when we were washing our clothes. Every day we made sure we washed our clothes and everything. Army guys, Jawans came and told us, Madam, आप लोगों का कपड़ा दो, हमारे पास washing machine है और dryer भी है. We don't have dryers in our houses, and there they have to have washing machines and dryers. Otherwise, they cannot wear their clothes because 12 months in a year, it's almost raining. So, this is we are having with the Jawans. This is the old Silk Route, yeah.
Yes.
Having
in Zuluk and Sikkim.
in Zuluk, we are having food with the Jawans. This is the old Silk Route. So, what we did was we walked straight up, cut the roads, and then walked straight up. It's one of the lakes. It's in the shape of an elephant.
Yeah, this is the famous Chongmu Lake in Sikkim. On the way to Gangtok.
On the way to Gangtok, yeah.
As you probably can see, the weather has already changed. Even though you were talking of heat,
Yes, yes.
and this gives a different story of the weather.
That's right. All the time it's misty and cloudy. So we enter Gangtok. We had the honor of staying with the Black Cat Institute, which is a beautiful institute by the army. On the way. Yeah, we enter Sandakphu. This is the last point in India, in West Bengal. This is the highest point also. From Sandakphu, if you rise early in the morning, say about 3 o'clock, you can view Everest and Kanchenjunga at the same time. That's how Sandakphu is so famous. The trek is so famous for that. We enter Nepal from here. You can see the rhododendrons.
So now you're getting into the Nepal leg, which is...
Yes. We got into this place called Falut. So we hired another agency who had done our entire 1984 Everest expedition. And he gave us a guide. And he told us, Arey, madam, Nepal may no problem, you'll be staying in the farmhouse. So we all were imagining farmhouse having a beautiful garden and a lovely swimming pool and everything in front of us. When we went there, it was a little shack. And in that shack, on top there are 6 mattresses, down on the floor it's 6 mattresses. We said, kahan hai farmhouse? Yehi hai farmer's house. हमने बोला ना फार्म हाउस में रहेंगे. So that is the farmhouse in Nepal. So subsequently we stayed in many farmhouses like that. This is one of the bridges we are crossing. I'm sure many of you who would have trekked in Nepal would have crossed these suspension bridges. Nepal has got fantastic infrastructure for people because there are people who have settled down in the remotest of places, villages are all over the place. So they have made these suspension bridges which are very easy to cross in Nepal, while in India we don't have that yet.
Also, there are no roads there, so you have to walk in these areas.
Yeah, that's true. This is one of the hard days. Every day was a hard day, I will say.
So actually, let me just stop you then.
Sorry.
Why don't you just tell us what was a typical day?
Okay. So we'd start our day, we'd get up at 4 in the morning every day and do our morning rituals. Of course, we had no toilets or anything like that. We had to take our kudali and go every day. And then 2 kudalis we had, fortunately. So we'd take our kudali is a pickaxe. We had to dig a hole in the earth and then use for morning rituals and then cover it up nicely and then come. And then we'd have our bed tea after that. By about 6 o'clock, we'd have our breakfast. By 6...
But who would make the...
We had one cook who made the breakfast for us, fortunately.
Right.
And we had our Bangalore sponsor who gave us the ready-to-eat food. So he just had to put it into hot water. We had upma, poha, lemon poha, then tamarind poha and things like that. And
but let me again stop you for a moment. I mean, we're saying all these things. You're in the midst of nowhere, and where do you get basic water? Everything has to be collected.
Yes, I will tell you. I'll come to that. So we would camp at water points. And water points are not next to the camp at all. It's invariably very far, or the water is very dirty also. We had to purify the water by keeping a cloth. That's all we did. And then, anyway, so we'd have our breakfast by 6:30 and start walking. And then, as soon as we reached the camp, we had no rest. We had to pitch our own tents every day. That means go to the kitchen point where the mules have dropped all your bags, walk about 50 feet or 100 feet. You have to find a spot, a flat spot where you can pitch your tent. In case there are stones and all that, we had to clear all the stones ourselves and then pitch the tent. So we had tent partners, permanent tent partners for easy to work, share your workload. And then after pitching our tent, we had to go back into the kitchen to work. On the way, we were so fortunate, Bachandri and some of the mountain girls, they knew what greens we could pick off the mountain just like that. Likewise, we had 12 kinds of green vegetables that we ate off the mountain. It's impossible to believe sitting here. We get palak, methi, all the other sags in a ready. They we plucked off the mountain. That was amazing. So each girl had about this much of extra load in her backpack because that will become only this much after they cook it. So we take it, go to the water point, wash it after reaching the camp, after pitching our tent, wash all our sabjis, remove all the grass and cut it fine and give it to the cook. He'll cook the dinner for us. He'll make us tea. But then after dinner, we had to get back into the kitchen tent because for one girl had to gundo the atta. This was for next day's packed lunch. The two girls would sit, every day it was on rotation basis. Two girls would sit and make the 100 to 120 chapatis or puris. And every day we had wonderful different kind of parathas. Girls from Rajasthan and from Orissa, they made different. It became a competition later on. Kal didi main karungi, mera Bikaner ka paratha. Another girl will say Gujarat ka paratha bana rahi ho. So it became a part of life. The whole day we are working. But fortunately, I didn't have so much of work because I would get back into my tent, go wash the clothes. Everybody washed the clothes, of course, and then set up our tent, and then I had to write a report to the army every day. So I would just lie down happily, or if it was sunny, then I would come out and write the report, and that's how it was.
All this after just doing 25 kilometers a day,
So this is after a hard day's work. During the lunchtime, they were all just lying down. Those girls on the tables only, they fell asleep. This is one of the waterfalls we are crossing. There's another dhaba where we are crossing. We ordered for tea. You only get black tea in Nepal. You don't get this. This is the Annapurna range. We were staying in a place called Upper Pisang. So there's a lower Pisang and then upper Pisang. When we were staying in the upper Pisang, you get this beautiful view early in the morning. And from there, we just saw that Chinese flags were, there in many villages in Nepal. We just identified them. Again, on the way to one of the passes. And so we saw this huge campsites everywhere. We were very surprised actually because we had seen this only in Bhutan when we did the classic snowman trek, and we were wondering what these people are up to. And then we spoke to the locals. We spent about 2 hours that day because this was just before the pass. So you can see the village in the distance, the settlement. So what they do in the month of June, these days that is, they all set out with the children and their ghodas or mules or whatever, and they go looking for this plant fungus worm called Cordyceps. Have you all heard? Has anyone heard of this Cordyceps?
It's a traditional local Viagra.
Exactly. So it's called a Himalayan Viagra now. I checked on the Google, so they call it Himalayan Viagra. So these things are harvested only in the month of June, and they get it home and wash it and dry it.
Was it planned that you reached there in June?
So they'd sell it to China apparently. And you know how much it is sold for? 1 lakh a kilo. So they become really rich these days. Many of these porters, so-called porters, so they earn about 1 lakh, rupees just like that. So this is Cordyceps for your information. This is, we are just entering Muktinath. We climbed one of the passes called Torangla Pass. And that was the longest day for us. We were to start at 3 in the morning. When we got up at 2 o'clock and got ready, it was raining and raining like anything. So what we did, we all got ready and went back to sleep. And our leader came, chalo, uto, kya kar rahe tum log? We said, no, Bachandi, it's raining, we can't go anywhere. She said, look up at log, uthao, bahar aa jao tum log. So she pulled all of us out of our rooms with our bags and packs, and with the umbrella, with the raincoat, we started walking with the headlight. 3:30 we were out. And by 9 o'clock, we were on top of Torangla.
And what was the temperature when you started?
I think it was minus something. It was very cold. The rain that falls there is icy cold. Oh my God. And the head torch, it hardly, it shows, but we are climbing up. You have to negotiate real steep climb because it's full of boulders. And you're slipping and falling and giving each other a hand. And just climbing up. By 9 o'clock, we were on top of the pass, like any other people. So it was a normal climb.
Roughly 60 days into the journey. So you already been walking for 60 days. So.
Yes. And then that was the longest day during our journey, during our entire trip. We walked for 13.5 kilometers non-stop and no breakfast that day.
13.5 hours?
13.5 hours. Hours, yeah. Sorry, hours non-stop. And then it was all up, and more up till we crossed the pass. After that, it was down all the way. We could see Muktinath right in the far off end. I hope you all know what Muktinath is. Muktinath is another very religious place for Hindus, like Badrinath is. So, okay. So we got into Muktinath, went to the temple, had a bath also. Yes, thank you.
And this is after the pass. It doesn't look cold here right now. But
yeah, it was icy cold. It's 7,776 feet high.
So, tell us.
This was just before another very tough pass we had to cross.
कुछ बोल आज हम लंका पास जा रहे हैं टीम तो स्ट्रांग है लेकिन वेदर थोड़ा ख़राब हो गया है फिर भी कोशिश करेंगे और मुझे लगता है कि हम लोग नेचर के साथ मिलते हुए आगे बढ़ेंगे और सक्सेसफुल होंगे ऑल द बेस्ट थैंक यू ओके ऑल द बेस्ट
I think none of us can complain about rain anymore after this.
Yeah, this was, sorry.
Tell us, there was an incident while you were doing this pass.
Yes.
So tell us.
Yes, I can tell you. This was just before the Lumkaga Pass climb. Lumkaga Pass was the toughest of the passes that we crossed in the Himalayas this time. We crossed about 35 named passes. We crossed 3 unnamed passes also. So Lumkaga was the toughest that we passed. The lady who is talking is Bimla Negi Dioskar. So she had an unfortunate incident. So as we were climbing up, Lumkaga Pass is such that earlier, 1997, when they climbed, the whole thing was covered in snow. So Bachindri was saying that it was easier to climb at that time. So this time, because of the heavy global warming and the heavy sunshine, that particular day also, it was totally exposed rocks for us. So like as if in a jigsaw puzzle, all the rocks are just, placed one on top of the other. So it was like that. Underneath is all hard ice. Every rock that we put our foot on was shaking. It was a very difficult pass that day. Yes, I would agree. So almost 3/4 way to the pass, there was a stone. Everything was a stone. When she put her foot, Bimla put her foot on that, the stone rolled and she fell down about 50 feet. She came rolling down. And fortunate for her, I will say, because two big stones rolled beside her and it just missed her and went on the side. And then she was in excruciating pain and we had to evacuate her. We had about 8 army people that day and 12 porters with us who were carrying all our load. The ponies could not come on this road because of the terrain, very tough terrain it was. So we had to take more and more porters that day. And then the army guys came immediately from up, and then they wrapped her up in a sleeping bag and in a carry mat and tied her with a rope. We were carrying ropes, carabiners, we were well prepared, and all our crampons and everything. We didn't have to use them because we were walking only on the rocks. And they got her on top. Once they got her on top, the pass itself is a very narrow pass. It's about 15 feet wide and about, say, 30 feet in width. And it's all jagged boulders everywhere. And they got her on top and placed her on the ground. She was in pain, of course. She was crying like anything, screaming like anything. I was busy on the satellite phone calling the army for rescue. So I couldn't get through to the army because I didn't know the number. I thought I knew the number. It was going to the wrong number. And then I called my husband. But Govind was in US at that time. He said, okay, don't worry, I'm calling up the Army Adventure Cell. So he called up, he connected with them. They called me back on the sat phone. They said, ma'am, what's happened? So I told them, this is what has happened. And they, of course, asked, doctor came online after 5 minutes. All this was going on. While this was going on, 1.5 hours went by. And the whole lot of us are sitting on the pass. And none of us thought about going down at all. Suddenly, Bachindri, what a great leader that she is. See how her mind works. She said, sab log niche jana padega abhi. We looked down, oh my God, there's no route down at all. It's 70 degrees or 80 degrees in gradient. My heart just missed a beat. Same thing with everyone, same thing with Bachindri also, because later she also admitted that. She said, I was also scared. Then what do? She said, chalo, kaise bhi ho, niche jana hi padega abhi. Rope up ho jao. So we did rope up. But we realized roping up is not a good idea. So we removed the rope. And then the porters, they started going. So they made a little zigzag route. And every 10 feet, there was a porter who was giving us a hand. And every put that we put a foot on, one stone was rolling down. So that was really dangerous. So one girl had to cross and then made sure other girl crossed and then the other girl crossed. So somehow we managed to go down.
And you had to take the injured person down too.
Yes, we had to take her down. So we could not take her like in a stretcher form. So one of the porters, who was a very tough guy, he said, ma'am, मैं उसको पीछे ले जाती हूँ. So he tied her on his back and he walked down all the way till the snowfield. He was very well rewarded by Bachindri Pal financially. Great fellow.
But I think it's an amazing story. It just shows that this was no walk in the park. Just the type of terrain. This is dangerous.
Very dangerous it was, yes. I'm sorry to say, but this is in India, the infrastructure in India.
Oh.
We didn't have bridge.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 बार river cross कर लिया, Vaspa river.
This is a river which is almost 1 kilometer wide, and we are at the snout of the river where the ice is just melting and coming. We had to cross it on foot, but we could not cross it. Again, another great decision by Bachindri Pal.
So you went across halfway and then...
We went halfway and we had to come back the same way because we could not cross it. What was coming up till here? The icy cold water.
Ganga tera pani amrit.
Bachindri and her humor.
It must have been quite cold.
Very icy cold. So all our feet were so numb that we didn't know where we were putting our foot and we were slipping and falling. Yeah,
So you're back in India?
Yeah, we crossed the Pin Parvati Valley in Lahul Spiti area.
Going back, how did you finally move ahead in that?
Yeah, finally, okay, what we had to do was we had to climb up the entire glacier. It took 3.5 hours. It was total black ice and rocks on that. So we had to cover the entire glacier and walk on to the other side. We reached the camp by 7 in the evening. In the meantime, the army help was coming from the other side. Army Adventure Cell had called up the units ahead, and there were about 40 army personnel that came with a stretcher, doctor, nursing assistant, and everybody, and with all the painkiller injections and everyone, and helped Bimla cross over. In 23 hours, in fact, they took her to the nearest hospital in 23 hours. They had to walk 23 hours, get her to the ambulance to the nearest roadhead, and from there they had to take her to Karcham, which was the nearest hospital.
Incredible.
Gave her the help, then on to Simla, and she was flown back to Nagpur after that for the operation. What was the injury? The injury was...
I think we'll come to it later, just in the interest of time. We'll just move forward.
Her hip
We'll
dislocated.
Forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah, we're into Pin Valley now. We crossed the Pin Parvati Valley and came into Himachal. We are coming into, on the way to Baba Pass. There are 3 last passes. This is again India. This is a footbridge that we got going to the Baba Pass. This is on the way to the Baba Pass. Baba Pass is one steep climb, absolute steep climb. I will say 80 degrees or 85 degrees. And then after that, we thought we have reached the peak. She said, no, there are 3 more like this. So, oh my God, that was really tough that day, but beautiful climb. All of us did it. We were so well acclimatized that we all did it without any problem. So again, you can see another footbridge where we had to take help to cross. And the rivers were all furious because it's summertime, July, June, and the sun is so hot and all the ice and snow is all melting at that time. All the rivers are swollen.
so did you have to do a lot of your starts very early so that you could cross the rivers
Yes.
before it melted?
We did that, but it didn't help.
No?
No.
Okay.
Rivers were already
The rivers
swollen.
didn't behave?
No. In fact, when they were taking Bimla on the stretcher, they had to cross 2 major rivers. One was Pagal Nala. That Nala is really Pagal. At night, the water is flowing over the bridge. So you can imagine the amount of water that there was. So army had to get a ladder. They were prepared for it. They'd got 2 long ladders and huge searchlights because this happened in the midnight. The rescue happened in the midnight. Yeah. This is on the way to Farangla Pass. This is the highest pass that we crossed, 18,350 feet high.
This is Ladakh.
Yeah, we are entering Ladakh. From Himachal, we are entering Ladakh. This is
So
the
did you
highest
feel
pass.
now the end is near at this stage? When you're getting close to Ladakh, did you feel now we are close to the end of the journey?
Yes, we did. We were feeling very happy and we did it very well. I mean, because body was so well acclimatized, none of us were panting for breath anymore. I mean, from the beginning itself. And just to show you that how the mind doesn't work, I'm holding the Karnataka flag upside down. So, I mean, your mind, I asked my friend, Shamala, she said, correct. Ade correct. So I held it like that, but I think it's upside down. I think red has to come down and yellow up, yeah. I've done the same thing in some other pass also. So this was the terrain after the Farangla Pass. Very tough, extremely tough, I will say. It's completely boulders, and boulders. It's slipping. And right down, there's a huge river that's flowing. That's the Parvati River.
बाबा पास से वापस
This is an unnamed pass that we crossed.
So in addition to the 35, there were a few more that you're...
3 more that we did, yeah, which were unnamed.
This is in Ladakh now. So
Ladakh, yeah. We are just entering the Somuriri. We walked from the snout of the Somuriri lake. If anyone's been to Ladakh, I'm sure you'll know Pengongsu and Somuriri. We are at the snout beginning of the Somuriri lake. You have to walk 4 days at 12,000 feet to go into the Somuriri lake. And then we entered Ladakh, and this is the first pass in Ladakh, the Fatula Pass. We are having lunch on the left-hand side. We are having lunch break in the Fatula Pass. We walked mostly on the road in Ladakh, and we were taking shortcuts also between the roads. And we took the vehicle also. Because what happened actually, we were to finish our expedition on the 12th of August, but Army invited us over to take part in the Kargil Vijay Divas, which is celebrated on the 24th, 25th and 26th of July. They requested us, they said, please ma'am, cut short your stay, and we can't allow you to walk in Ladakh for so long because of the same CI, security issues. So, Bachindri, we all sat down and had a lot of meetings with the army, and just by ourselves, we decided, okay, we'll cut short our stay. So, every day in Ladakh also, in Leh also, we walked about 20 to 25 kilometers. We took shortcuts and everything, so it became 35. And finally, we reached Dras on 24th of July. We were given a grand welcome by the army. We had the honor of meeting with our Honorable President, Draupadi Murmu. One of our girls, by name Payo Murmu, is from her same village. Now, what happened? So, when we went to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, Bachindri was made to stand at the entrance, and the deputy leader, they said, all the others, nobody is to get up. You all have to sit down with your legs like this and hands like this, as a mark of respect. And then, so you are not to go and stand up and wish the president. She herself will sit down there on her chair, and you will be introduced from your chair. You're not to come close to her. Now, Payo Murmu, she being such a simpleton, she thought, oh, Didi to apna gaon ke hai. So she went and pulled her pallu. Didi, aap to hamara gaon ke hai. She, all the security people were taken aghast, and then they said, oh my God. She said, no, it's okay. She is from my village. She is such a lovely person. The president, I would like to say that, so nice. She said, yes, she is from my village. Let it be. I'll take a picture. Didi, aapke saath maine photo lena hai. She allowed that. And then she's calling Bachindri Pal, Didi, aap bhi aa jao. Hamara Didi ke saath photo lena hai. So she took a picture with the president also and the leader also.
I think it's been fantastic. We're going to now open it up to questions from you. You'll need to come out there. But before that, I'm going to ask you one last question from my side. At any stage, did you feel like, I want to give up?
Yes. Every other day we felt that we want to give up. Every other day we felt that. But then we said we are not going to give up. We have taken this on our own. The advantage is all of us are mature people. All of us are old enough to take our own decisions. We had left our homes for good and come. In fact, after walking for 2 months, we thought that we are not going to go back home at all. This is our life. I mean, we're going to live in the mountains. What am I going to tell Govind how I'm not going back? I mean, it just came like that. It was shocking, actually, how our minds just take to the mountains and you start living there. I must tell you that we were living with just basic minimum clothes. Because all of us had to carry our own things, right? So we had only 3 sets of clothes, outer clothes, underclothes, we had many sets. I can't tell you that. Well, so we would wash our clothes as soon as we reached the camp. The only fight that we had, Sunil, I must admit, is in case we were in a school where we had only one bathroom and there's no water, running water anywhere in any school in Nepal or anywhere, we had to get our own buckets of water. And then the moment we reach the camp, we'll realize the school, we'll spot that bathroom and one of us will quickly go and leave our towel and soap there. In case another girl went there, we'll fight with her saying that Mera to main pehle rakhi hu. I'm going to have a bath first. So for that we had a fight. Otherwise, no other fights we had, and we had a
in 141 days. That itself is a record.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So, if
Thank
there's
you.
anybody who would like to have any questions, the mic is up. Please come to the mic. And please identify yourself.
Good morning to all once again. Namaste, madam. I call Vasumathi madam as Iron Lady.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Respected madam, when you got the message that you have been selected for the Fit 50 team, how you expressed and how yourself prepared yourself physically fit and mentally preparedness, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. He is our secretary. He is Srivatsa from Karnataka Mountaineering Association. We have our office in the Kantirva Stadium. Well, I've been a member of that for 42 years now, all my life, I will say that. So the moment I got a call from Bachindri Pal, she said, I'm going to give it to you in writing also. So the moment I got a call from her, I told Govind, I want to go on this. He said, are you sure you want to do it? It's for 5 months. It's not 5 days, it's 5 months. I said, yes, I want to do it. About a dozen times he has asked me, are you sure you'll last that long? Are you sure you won't come running back to Bangalore saying that I want my bed and I want my bathroom like that? Well, anyway, I did it. Then when the letter came, I sent it to KMA because I'm from KMA. And immediately I got congratulatory notes from everyone. And the way I prepared myself was with Vatsa and everybody. Every week we went on a hill climb. And my yoga friends are here. Every other day, Sunday, we went on a 10-kilometer lake walk. The lakes around Bangalore are beautiful. I mean, I will say they've made lovely walkways everywhere. Jakkur Lake, Yalahanka Lake. I live in that part of Bangalore, and another lake, Chellikere Lake or something. So I took all my yoga friends. They all are here. Some of them are here. Yoga Guru is also here. So we went around the lake twice, 10 kilometers. So I didn't have a big backpack, but in the gym I worked out with a backpack. I took a 10 kilo weight and walked about 45 minutes and did a lot of strength training. And yoga is my, fitness. It's like having a cup of coffee every day. I have to do yoga every day. So that's what kept my knees going also. So I'm thankful to the yoga guru also for keeping me fit. And all my dear friends who have come here. Yeah, thank you all for taking out your time and coming. Valuable time. Yeah. Thanks to Sunil.
Any
he
more
calls
questions?
himself sorry, Sunil, I'm cutting you here. He calls himself an angel investor, but he is an angel himself. If not for him, I wouldn't have been here today. Thank you, Sunil.
My
Thank you,
honor to be-
PIC.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Yes, I will tell you about Bimla. You asked me about wheelchair. Now, Bimla had to go back to Nagpur. She had a thigh dislocated. It had come out. So luckily, within 24 hours, the doctor at Karcham put it back. The orthopedic was a very good ortho. And he put that bone back. And then, sorry? Thigh, yes. It had come out from the socket. And so he put it back, and then she was sent to Simla. But her husband came from Nagpur in the meantime, and then he took her back to Chandigarh and flew back to Nagpur. And immediately her operation was done, and I believe the ball had fractured also. So they set that right with a plate and nuts, bolts, whatever, and put it back. But before she entered the operation theatre, Bimla told the doctors, on one condition I will enter the theatre, operation theatre. In 20 days' time, I want to be back in Ladakh because the team is coming to Ladakh. This happened on the 5th of July and 24th we were already there. So she came back on the wheelchair. She flew from Delhi to Leh, Nagpur to Delhi, Delhi to Leh, and then she came in a taxi lying down and she was on the wheelchair. She wanted to complete the expedition just so that she will not regret in her life.
So
That's
between
her.
the time she fell,
Great lady, yeah, she's totally determined. She's a very senior mountaineer, I must tell you. Bilma Negi Diyaskar actually in the 2015 June floods, they were all there when the deluge happened. They were on the peak actually. They were supposed to attempt the peak. That night they gave up and they ran down the mountain and rescued so many civilians also in the Gangotri area. Okay.
But between the time she fell,
Yeah.
she got injured, and the time she could get into, say, any medical help, how long was that?
23 hours.
23 hours from the time she fell to the time she got any, and then she was
Medical
being carried
help.
by this one porter.
One porter till the snowfield.
Snowfield.
After that, the army came and they had got a stretcher and they crossed the 2 rivers and everything I told you. So then she was
So
taken in the ambulance.
So, and, I mean, this comes. Did you all carry some medical supplies, or
Yes.
was you had anything which, but nothing can prepare you for something like this?
No, nothing to prepare us for this. But we had a big medical chest with us. I would also, we kept giving her Combiflam. That was the best we knew of. I would also want to reiterate here that during the 5 months, we were drinking just cold water off the rivers, off the stream or anything. None of us fell sick. None of us fell sick. I don't know how this is. All that we were taking was vitamin supplies, vitamin C and vitamin B complex and calcium. And one powder that we got from an Ayurvedic doctor from Chennai, he sponsored it. He sponsored about 8 dabbas of that. Trichuran, that had amla, sont, and one more powder in that. So that the deputy leader made sure that was mixed in honey every day, Patanjali honey, and 1 huge tablespoon of that, we all had to take that. That was to boost our immunity. But none of us fell sick other than the simple, loose motion that we got. Maybe overeating or less eating, I don't know. But it was great.
What was the highest point or pass? Or what is the highest point in this journey?
Farangla Pass, which was 19,350. After that pass, from Himachal, we entered into Ladakh.
So 19,000, and that was, you were showing us very tough terrain, and
Yes.
and that was a very long day also.
Yes.
And when Bimla got injured,
Yeah.
did any of you all, anybody in the group feel like, that this is, not for me? We want to maybe cut short. Because surely it has an impact on some people.
Actually, before that also, 2 of us didn't want to do that. In fact, one of the girls only suggested, ये पास तो बहुत टफ है, वसु तू और श्यामला नहीं कर पाएंगे, मत करो. तो बचली को बोलो अभी तक इतना अच्छा से किया है, why do you want to take panga? You can fall down and then you can have an injury and you will spoil the entire expedition after this. So with great difficulty, Shamla and I mustered up courage because we're so scared of Bachindri also. We can't tell her anything negative because everything is going so beautifully. We don't talk anything negative at all while you're walking in the mountains also. Everything has to be positive. That's when you can do it. And of course, another thing is, of course, mentally you have to be tougher. That's when you can overcome all the physical challenges. Anyway, so we mustered up courage and went and told Bachindri, हम दोनों नहीं करना चाहते हैं, because we had only heard about it. We'd heard that Lumkaga Pass बहुत tough है Bachindri. अगर कुछ हो गया तो पूरा expedition fail हो जाएगा, हम नहीं आएंगे. She said, तुम लोग पागल हो, you both are so fit, what's wrong with you? Of course you're going to come, the whole team is going to come, everything. If something happens to you, it's a teamwork. All of us are there to support you. But then, thank God for us, everything happened okay, but then, of course, Bimla herself fell down.
Well, I think
that was really sad. We felt very sorry.
It's very sad what happened,
yeah.
but I think in 140 days, 12 of you there, 1 injury, I think you've been luckier than many other expeditions.
Yes.
And yeah, sorry, we got another
I will
question.
say that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Please go.
Congratulations, Vasu. This is Sridevi. Hi, Govind. Really incredible, amazing, and I think we're all still digesting all the amazing adventures. I guess 2 questions. One is, what advice do you have for those of us who aren't climbing mountains or aiming to, how do you just maintain the mental fitness in addition to the physical? And secondly, I guess, what's next for you? What's your next dream adventure that you'd like to go after?
Thank you, Sridevi. Devi is my husband's colleague at Walmart. Well, yeah, what I will say is before you climb, you have to do a lot of physical workout, especially small climbs like Nandi Hills or any betta, Savandurga or anything. You have to do hill climb definitely. If you can't do hill climb, well, work out on the treadmill, put it to the highest, carry a little backpack. Start with 5 kilos initially, not less than that. 5 kilos is what you can start. And then the more physically you work out, mentally you become tough. Mentally, if you're tough, you're able to overcome all your physical challenges. I completely believe in that. Yeah, you have to work out all 7 days in a week. That's another thing, yeah. Rest day, well, the whole day you're resting after working out. That's your rest day.
And
Oh, yeah, I'm a homemaker myself, actually. In fact, a friend of mine who will be coming down next month, she's an Everester. Her name is Chetana Sahu. She has her presentation in Bangalore Club. Any of you can come for that. That's on the 19th, Monday. She will tell you how she climbed. She never had the time to go out. She's living in a flat. So she put on a bori, Ataka bori of 15 kilos throughout the day, and she did all her housework. That's how she kept fit and climbed Everest. She has an amazing story to tell. I welcome you all for that. I invite you all for
So
that.
the second question, what's next?
Sorry,
What's
yeah.
next?
What's
Yeah.
next? Well,
Around
I
the world?
can't think of anything.
Around the world?
I haven't thought of anything yet. Of course, a lot of calls are coming. Bachandi has invited us for another trek in the month of November, but I have a lot of house things to do, so I guess I will not be going anywhere this year, excepting for the local treks, which I have been doing with the Bangalore Club and my yoga friends. Yeah.
It was very nice to hear about.
Please tell us your name.
My name is Pranav, member of Bangalore Club and KMA, in fact. 2 questions actually. One of them is you mentioned that you mentioned Pin Parvati, Pin Baba, and in Leh Ladakh you did a few the area there as well. How many small treks? So if you go on India hikes or Himalaya trekkers, there are different treks which cover sections of what you did. So in your entire route, how many do you think you would have, how many treks would you have done? So that's the first question. The second one I wanted to know was 3,000 kilometers, 4,000 in total, it's huge. Were there a lot of sections which is uncharted territory where you navigated using the compass and you walked towards your destination, or was it always with a path and walking?
Thank you, Pranav. Yes, I'll answer the second question. Most of the days, yes. Every night, our deputy leader and the guide, whichever the guide was for that region, and our leader would sit down with the map. We had a huge map, one from the Google, and one which way they were using, one from the army. Stealthily we
Google
got.
Maps in the mountains? Question mark.
No, from the army we got. That's a secretive map, which we borrowed and gave it back to them. So we had the army guys also telling our route. Because everywhere the routes are not well marked. So in fact, 2-3 days we have taken wrong routes also and come back and then gone the other way also. And regarding this passes, I told you we covered about 35 plus 3 more passes. So you can keep about 10 days for each pass, at least that much. So like that.
Hi, my name is Proshin Banerjee. Congratulations, Vasu, for this. We've been hearing about it for some time, and finally we actually get to see the whole presentation of what you actually went through. Just quick questions as what was the minimum and maximum age of your team? Because I know it's all 50 plus. So I just wanted to know that. And the second question is, what were the families thinking? Because all the ladies are out in the mountain. So I was wondering what the men and the families were thinking during these 4 months that you were away.
Well, I'll just let you into one secret, which was that whatever number she tells you, she crossed that number yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Prasun. Yeah, the youngest was 53. She turned 54 on the expedition. And Bachandri and I were the oldest, 68, but I crossed 69 yesterday. Wow. I turned 69. I'm 7 months older to her, to Bachandri. And then the second question was, well, you'll have to ask my husband how he felt. I can't tell you how he felt.
He's an army guy. I know what he would feel. I was talking about others.
But fortunately for me, Govind came to Kathmandu. When the team came to Kathmandu, he spent 4 nights in Kathmandu. And Bachandri was so sweet. We were for 3 nights in Kathmandu and she let me spend the 3 nights with him. And when we came to Ladakh, my whole family came. Entire, my daughter, my son-in-law, the grandchildren, my son and daughter-in-law. Unfortunately, my son was down with corona, so they had to cancel the tickets in the last minute. Otherwise, my grandson who's here, he was saying, Dadi is climbing Himalaya, I'm climbing Himalaya. So he kept saying that. But I'm sure they missed me. I mean,
did you meet him before or after you collected that magic drug?
Yeah, hi Vasu, and Satya here. I have the privilege of knowing Vasu through the yoga class SYC. One question to you, Vasu, is what advice would you give for women like you and me who are 50 plus? So what is one word of advice?
Yeah, continue to keep fit. Don't give up ever. Continue to give up. I mean, to work hard. Work hard and harder. Hardest. That's when you can achieve something. You set a goal for yourself. That's the best way to do. That's what I do. I sign up for an expedition. I know it's there, the carrot is dangling there, and you work towards it. If there's nothing coming, then I become lazy myself. So best is to, set a goal for yourself and work towards it. You will fulfill your dream. But you have to work hard, definitely. Nothing comes easy in life.
Right. And with Vasu's help and guidance, I think I've done 2 treks with her, which itself is a big thing for me. So thank you so much, Vasu. You are my guide and you are for so many women like me.
Thank you, Satya. Yeah, thank you. Some of yoga girls had the fortune of coming on a trek with me to Darwa Pass and trek with Bachandri Pal. This was in October, just before this was our practice trek for the Trans-Himalayan Expedition. Last year, September. Yeah, last year, September.
Hi, Supriya here. My first event here that I attended, Sunil, that was yours, the marathon, Everest marathon. Second, Vasu, is yours. I'm deeply inspired. I barely walk 5 kilometers. My husband is sitting right there. I started gymming. It's such a couch potato life that I lead. And now sitting here and getting inspired by you is just deeply humbling. Question is, there are so many conversations that happen. Sorry, I'm going to take it the gender bias way. My due apologies if that spoils your Saturday morning. But there's women can't do this, women can't do that. The world is so much, even they talk about strength. Men are, of course, far more, they have the strength. And then I see you, age is not a bar, gender is not a bar, and there is so much courage. So what would you say to all women out there, and including men out there, about women?
You work hard. That's exactly what it is. Get out of your houses. If you sit in the house, you cannot achieve anything. That's one thing I've realized. And luckily, no, you must have a family that will support you. Our husband, in-laws, parents, children, they have to support you for you to be going out and doing something. And we believe, Bachandri and all of us believe that if a mother keeps fit in the house, mother or woman or whoever, she is an inspiration to the husband, to the brothers, to all your siblings, to near and dear ones. So looking at her, everyone will start working out. So, you have to become a role model first. You get out of the house and start working out. You'll keep fit and achieve what you want. Realize your dreams.
We just have time for one last question. There's somebody behind you.
Thank you.
Chris. Sorry.
Hi, Jessie here. Quick question about the blisters. How did they manage after the blisters, especially when that skin came out? Because we all trek and we all get blisters. I just wanted to know.
Yes. Thanks, Jessie. So we got blisters till the last. From day one, And till the last, even now the blisters are there, slowly they are wearing out. I'm not going for a pedicure because I want the skin to come out just by itself. So what we did was, you nurse the blister every day. The two girls whose skin just came out from underneath, they bandaged them. They put ointment and they bandaged it and wore socks on top of them and walked. Initially for 1 month we were complaining of blisters and knee pain, body ache, this and that. तो बचनी साहब, मुझे भी सब कुछ है, तुझे भी सब कुछ है, तो क्या, क्यों बताना है? After 1 month, we just stopped complaining. That's the magic word. Just stop complaining. Just keep going. No matter what it is, you can't find your camp just here. I mean, you walk about 5 kilometers, you still don't find your camp. If you want to be comfortable find the comforts of a camp, you have to walk and walk. Don't complain at all. Think positive and just keep going. Mental strength again.
Yeah. Well, a journey of 140 days to try and put into 75 minutes is very difficult. I know there are many more questions, but I'm sorry. Maybe you can talk to Vasu straight after this, sir. I'm going to end with a message that Bachendri sent to Vasu, which he was kind enough to share with me at the end of the trek. It says, "Wow, Vasu, you rock. It's amazing that you have kept the promise to inspire more and more people around you. I know that once you decide to do something, you're the last one to give up, no matter how hard the situation is. The tenacity, patience, and resilience that I have noticed in you during our strenuous journey is beyond words. No matter how painful the journey was. There were only 2 words you used to react: no problem and a smile. All these qualities make you a wonderful person and a leader. You all have always enriched me by believing in my decisions, plans, and strengthened me to move forward with a positive energy. I would also like to thank you for your time-to-time feedback and for expressing your love and appreciation. A leader can only recognize and appreciate the good work of another leader. Cheers to our beautiful association of 40 years and for many more years to come." I think I can't end on a better note. Another standing ovation. Thank you all for coming here.